Imagine running Spotify, one of the most powerful entities in the music industry, yet not having any idea what a music creator has to go through on a day-to-day basis. Well, that's Daniel Ek. We're about to talk about it. So if you've been watching my channel for a while now, then you know that I typically don't do too many opinionated videos when it comes to current events, when it comes to news, even within the music industry, because I'm trying to teach systematic music marketing and not get into the trenches here. But this is different. Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify, recently did an interview with Music Ally, which I thought the interview was pretty decent overall. And then I feel like he kind of put his foot in his mouth with the phrasing of we can't do business like we used to 3 or 4 years ago. If somebody wants to stay relevant in the music industry, they need to be creating more product and putting it out on Spotify on a regular basis, right? The frequency. And obviously I'm paraphrasing. I could put the actual quote up on the screen right now. Now, Daniel Ek is a billionaire tech mogul who built a platform, Spotify, to empower music creators to be able to be heard in a different way. So on that side of the thing, like, he's done a huge service to the music industry. However, us as music creators, we're still investing in our craft. We're investing in the time in the studio. We're investing in new gear. We're investing in marketing. We're investing in photo shoots. We're investing in all of these different things that unless we do these things, we don't even have a chance to make any money on Spotify. And he's telling us that we can't do it the way that we used to. If you're a musician that you're doing, a new release every 3 to 4 years, you pretty much should just quit because it's not even worth doing. And in some regards, I actually completely agree with that. I mean, imagine how much money you make per Instagram post. Nothing, right? Yet in order to build a following on Instagram, in order to build a brand on social media, we're doing so many different pieces of content on a daily basis, weekly basis, what have you. We're not getting paid anything for that. Now, that's still content that we're creating. However, if we are a musician, right, then the photographer in us doesn't count as like a career over on Instagram. It doesn't count as somebody who's doing that professionally because that's just part of the game, right? But music is really what we're focused on. But if we're not getting paid with the music, then what are we doing overall? The issue is our frequency is going to determine the attention that we then bring back into the brand. So in that regard, I actually agree with Mr. Ek. However, we're getting paid less than a fraction of a cent, or a fraction of a cent. You can't get paid less than there's always going to be a fraction of that 1 cent that we're getting paid. But my point is, we have to have 100,000, 200,000, maybe 300,000 streams in a month even to kind of break even with what we would be making at McDonald's. And I know the argument is, well, there's minimum wage and we're not even making minimum wage. That's because there's no legislation in place that has any standard practices for how much someone gets paid for a stream across any platform. Let's face it, here on YouTube, where you're watching this video right now, they pay less per stream than Spotify does. However, they have a much better platform. They have a much better way for you to attract new audience members, new listeners. Spotify has a few different features, but they make it incredibly hard, nearly impossible, to get the information from your followers, to get people who saved because they have all the data and they're selling it to car companies and Taco Bell and all these different places that are running ads on the non-premium version of Spotify. Again, making more money. It's a great revenue stream on that side for them. But where's that money going for us? Our streams are not good enough. Our streams are not paying enough. Yet I can compare a job at McDonald's to Spotify because I could say the minimum wage where I live is XYZ. Therefore, the lowest amount of money that I can make in 1 hour at this place is this amount. I can't do that with streams. I can't do that with YouTube views. I can't do that for much of anything. And as a music producer, I've been doing this for years. If you're watching this right now and you're a music producer, you feel me on this one. We'll make 10 beats, 50 beats, 100 beats before we ever make $1 on them, let alone any streaming income. And I'm talking about working with artists or maybe even sync possibilities. But this is the thing. When we're putting out more work more frequently, the amount of work actually becomes easier to crank out because of that repetition. You build that mind muscle memory of this is what I'm doing. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be singles. There's going to be works and projects and even photography for those of you who don't make music. Maybe you make YouTube videos. There's going to be specific projects that you spend a whole lot more time on that when you upload it, it's crickets because you were really making it for yourself. And as a music creator myself, some of my best songs, I've never even exported them off this computer back here because I don't feel confident enough that they're done. We have to have some type of standards, some type of legislation Otherwise, it's like getting into a cab, going 2 blocks, and them saying, that's $120. And you're like, what? Well, that's what we charge. There's no policing it. It's just frustrating, right? Because when we're first getting started and you want to do 5,000 streams, that's your goal. We're looking at a number. We're looking at people that are listening to our music, hopefully bringing them back into the ecosystem. And let's face it, right now with the pandemic, right now with what's going on, a lot of you guys watching this, a lot of people that are struggling, and a lot of people that are complaining about the practices over on Spotify are musicians that can't play live right now. So what do? They find the only other platform that they're comfortable with, and they put their music on there, imagining that it's going to be some type of lotto machine. The fact of the matter is, there's a whole ton of artists on Spotify right now that are paying their bills, that are paying their mortgage, that are paying for their kids to go to private school, with Spotify as one of their lead revenue generation sources every single month. And then behind them is hundreds of thousands that struggle to make $50 a year on the platform. Same goes for YouTube. How many YouTubers are making $10,000 a month? A whole lot less than those making $50 a month. And I'm not saying that you have to go out and create a new song every 10 days. I'm not sitting here and by any stretch of the imagination getting on board with what Mr. Eck is trying to put out into the universe. But things have changed. And those who resist change are those that fall off. Look at Sears and JCPenney and all these other places that have filed for bankruptcy recently. They don't go with the trends. They don't shift to e-com. And all of a sudden their sales wash up. They become irrelevant. Same goes for what we're doing. If you're putting in the work on one platform and you have all your eggs in one basket that you do not own. I don't own Spotify, believe it or not. I don't own Facebook. I don't own Instagram. I'm only a small owner of YouTube. Just kidding. I don't own YouTube at all. But if we put all of our eggs in one basket and expect one thing to grow a golden egg, right? Be our life's sustenance for the rest of our life, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment because things change. Look at how many people built a career on Vine and then gone. They had to go over to YouTube. If they had enough influence, if they were an actual influential person, they'd bring their audience over there. People come searching for them and they could kind of recover. But so many times we'll put all of our eggs in the Spotify basket. What happens if Spotify starts paying less? What happens if it gets worse and it never gets better? Now, Mr. Eck had a good point because Mr. Eck said you have to stay engaged with your audience. You need to be putting out more work to keep them in the loop. And I'm obviously paraphrasing. You saw the quote a little bit earlier in this video. But he has a great point. This is what I've been preaching on this channel for 3 or 4 years now. If you're not engaged with your audience, if you're taking too much time in between content in general, they're going to lose interest because guess what? We live in a society now that if somebody keeps our attention for 15 seconds, in the case of TikTok, for example, they're doing pretty dang good because we live in a scrolling society. What else do? We swipe to the next song on Spotify. Swipe, swipe, swipe. People are so hungry for new content. They're so hungry for the next thing that you're about to put out that we're not celebrating albums like we did back in the days of the Four Tops and Celine Dion and Barbra Streisand and Elton John and like, you know, we have REO Speedwagon and all these other celebrated acts that were huge acts in the music industry. Our parents, our grandparents had their records, had the tapes, CDs. They would go to shows, they would buy merch, right? T-shirts. They could still do that with you. How many albums are you trying to sell? I know I recently did a video talking about how digital marketing was the way of the future, but you still have to provide an experience to your audience. Are you being able to reach out to them directly through your Spotify? Probably not. So that is the exact reason that we have to gain their attention to come other places. We have to get that ecosystem going so that when you offer a t-shirt, when you offer tickets, when you offer a one-on-one VIP experience, a fan will pay for that. Keep in mind, guys, you have options. We all have options. But then you say, no, we don't. Well, guess what? Good on Spotify for becoming the leader of the category. Good on Spotify for having over 4,400 employees and being able to build this up and getting our voices heard in all the corners of the world. Now, the issue is how much we're being compensated. But those that are doing it the old way, those that are going out and trying to release an album every 3 or 4 years, of course they're not going to gain any momentum unless they already have it. That's the thing. That's why I'm so adamant about you building a brand around yourself. You are the brand. Your music is the product. Spotify is not you. It's just one avenue to deliver your product. No different than Apple Music and Deezer and SoundCloud, Pinterest for that matter. It's all just different platforms and all just different possibilities. If you really want to make more money with your music, you got to be more than a one-trick pony. You can't make all this music, put it up on Spotify, and then say, hey, I have a career. It doesn't happen that way. When you're getting streams on Spotify, it's because you have attention for that amount of time. Spotify, as a platform, is then paying you a percentage, very, 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 very small, very small. But you're still getting paid. What is needed then is to use that and leverage that attention to come back to your brand and offer an overextended and over-delivered experience. Are you doing that now? How many streams have you had this month? What happens if they were paying you 1 cent a stream, right? What happens if Spotify raises that, right? To where now we're making 1 cent a stream. Is that enough? Maybe 25 cents a stream? Maybe $1 a stream. Would that be enough? You still wouldn't be putting in the fucking work. Those who complain the most are those that aren't actually doing it because you're afraid of what could happen if you were successful. You're afraid of what success would look like or how much work would have to be put in to find success monetarily from one source. Now, I genuinely hope that Spotify comes out with some type of stream to income ratio calculator in the future. Therefore, it can adjust as time goes on. We can kind of track and keep them more accountable. But up until right now, it isn't like that. We have to put our best foot forward. We have to try to build out that ecosystem. The fact of the matter is there's a whole lot of people out there that are making a career with music not based on their stream numbers, not based on their stream income, even more importantly. So does it take more work to build an audience faster? Of course. You'd be silly not to think so. Don't be upset that you are told that you have to put in the work. Don't be upset by the billionaire evil genius that provided you a platform. If you don't want to be on the platform, don't be on the platform. I'm not saying that that's the solution, but I'm saying that if it bothers you and you want to boycott something that is not going out of business anytime soon, then go for it. You're only holding yourself back with those limiting beliefs. You need to be able to bring that attention over to other things if you want to make that income. 5,000 streams, not going to pay your mortgage. 10,000 streams, not going to pay your mortgage. No different than 10,000 views on YouTube is not going to pay your mortgage. Now, 10,000 tickets sold, 10,000 t-shirts sold, 10,000 VIP experiences through Zoom. I don't think Zoom can handle that, but you get what I'm saying. We have to build the brand. We have to build the attention. We have to do that over time to be able to have a career. I could do something right now and sell 5,000 t-shirts. That's not a career. That's a pocket of time. That's a spike. Industries have been evolving for years. We've been so blessed with the ease of all these different things that are at our fingertips that we used to have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on. Yet when it's happening to us, we start running to mommy and crying. DistroKid, for example, has a tool where you can just import your music and it makes a lyric video for you. You know how many graphic designers and motion editors that put out of business? That's putting out of business? You know how many different tools we use every day on our phones that have AI built in to where it doesn't need an individual anymore? We have to evolve, people. We have to put in the work to get the attention to where we want the attention. Don't tell me that putting out one album every 4 or 5 years is going to be enough. If you're a purist, 100%. I know you're probably in my comments already, leaving negative comments, and I want to just hug you and tell you everything's going to be okay because I know that you're upset. I'm upset, you're upset. I could talk for another hour about YouTube income and how that fluctuates. 1 month, pretty good. The other month, it's like, what the hell happened? The numbers are the same. But we don't own the houses that we live in when it comes to these different platforms. You have to put in the work consistently because guess what? For every 10,000 music creators that there are vying for the same attention, there's going to be a point where a whole lot of them quit. They don't figure out the marketing side. They just do what they've been doing for years. They listen to their dad, Pete, who used to be in a rock band back in the 80s. And now, guess what? Use Spotify as a platform no different than Instagram, like I said. I'm not worried about how much I'm making off of Instagram posts per post from Instagram itself, because I know it's a tool to get people, get their attention to where I need it to be. Start using Spotify the same way. Obviously, we want to ramp up. Obviously, we want our launches to succeed to the next level, get on the editorial playlists and take off and be able to reinvest into our businesses. But if you're afraid of a little hard work, if you're upset by somebody who built a multi-billion-dollar platform, They took the risk. They built it on the backs of us. Yet you're upset that it exists. We need to revise that mindset and just say, hey, maybe we'll fight. Maybe we'll push. Maybe we'll stand up for what we think is right. But for the time being, we need to get our voices heard. If you stand in a closet and yell at the top of your lungs, nobody's going to hear you. You have to do what you can with what you have while things are going this way. Because I promise you, 100 tracks coming out over the next 5 years from you and all your friends are a lot more powerful, are going to build a whole lot more influence. It's going to build a huge fan base and a listenership versus those 0 tracks because you guys were boycotting a platform. If I don't listen to your song, I'm listening to somebody else's song, and that's the way the world works now. We just have to fight together as a music community to put standards in place so we can have a more predictable income, no different than putting things in place such as the minimum wage. So I want you guys to watch this video if you want to get a leg up, if you want to market yourself and get heard, if you want to send more people to what you're doing. This is the video for you. Join the channel family. I hope you guys like this video. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do more opinionated videos like this. Until next time, come connect with me over on Instagram, and I appreciate you watching.